Hello, it's nice to see everyone. This is the Clinical Research Forum, and I'm Lori Jennings. I'm the director of the PPHS IRB office and the moderator for the forums, but we have 2 meetings a year that we host for the basic scientists, and so this is our meeting for them. We'd like to welcome everyone, and like I said, I recognize some of you, and some of you I don't. I hope that we see you as often as possible. And you are certainly welcome to come to any of the forums, but Dr. Morrison specifically requested that we have at least a couple of forums for you a year where we can talk about research administration and opportunities for you and work that you actually need to know information about, and that is today. And so we are going to dive right in. We had a late-minute ad that for Fatma that's going to come up and talk to us about the Clinical Research Education Program at Mount Sinai, and then we'll just continue to move forward. So, Fatma.
Hello, my name is Fatma Nabizadeh Pace, and I am the Program Administrator for the Clinical Research Education Program at Sinai. The director of our program is Dr. Janice Gabrelov, and the co-director is Dr. Alan Moskowitz. I just wanted to start off with just a very quick description of what translational science is, and this is the definition from the National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences. Translational science is the process of turning observations in the laboratory, clinic, and community into interventions that improve the health of individuals and the public, from diagnostics and therapeutics to medical procedures and behavioral changes. I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide because I know we have 2 other speakers and I was a last-minute add-on, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but just wanted to talk about the value of clinical research training through our program. Clinical research training would enhance your ability to harness the wealth of scientific information impacting disease. There are employment benefits as well, enhanced credentials, becoming prerequisite for clinical research-oriented academic positions, funding opportunities through NIH grants and other grants, and large scientific social network, and enhanced participation in team science. Our programs are part of the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences programs. We are housed under the school and under Dean Morrison. Our courses are all scheduled in the evening after 4 p.m. We typically don't have classes on Fridays, so this allows for individuals who are working to still be able to take classes and earn one of our degrees. They're all taught on the campus, either through the Levy Library or in the CAM building. We welcome individuals who wish to take classes as non-matriculated students and who do not want to actually enroll in one of our degree-granting programs. We have a certificate program, a master's program, and a PhD program. The prerequisite for the certificate program is either a BA or a BS. We ask for GRE scores or equivalent, MCAT scores, USMLE. We will take both of those. The master's program has similar requirements. The PhD program, on the other hand, requires an advanced degree, a master's in science or any other science-related master's. And we also, again, ask for GRE scores or MCATs or USMLE. We do have several individuals in our program who are MDs, and so we don't make you take the MCATs or GREs if you have those credentials. We have 4 concentrations for the PhD program: bench to bedside, clinical trials research, population outcomes and implementation research, and molecular epidemiology. The master's degree does not require that you choose a track. Again, you can take any of our classes as non-matriculated students. You can take up to 12 credits, and the application process for non-matrics is much shorter and more simple. We don't require GRE scores. We require only 1 letter of recommendation, so it's a much shorter process. Our curriculum for the master's degree, first of all, our master's degree is 38 credits. It typically takes 2 years to complete the master's degree. Some individual will do it in 3 years, depending on their schedules. The first year, we have these core courses, including biostats classes for the first, second, and third term, ethical issues in clinical research, methods in clinical research, which is also a year-long course. We also require that you take our grant writing course in the first year, and during the second year, there's less coursework. There is a works in progress seminar series and journal club that is a full year course, and then the option of taking electives and, of course, working on your thesis and dissertation. The PhD is heavier in coursework. The biostats courses are more advanced, so instead of taking the 3 courses that you typically would take in the master's program, you would take advanced biostats and linear models 1 and 2. We also require that our students take an integrated problem-solving course, which takes a lot of the contents that's been taught in the first year and puts it together in the context of the comprehensive exam. So this prepares the students for the qualifying exam. We have a qualifying exam at the end of the second year that is required in order to move forward with the proposal and the actual dissertation. We also offer several other courses in our program that are not degree granting, that are open and free. Our summer workshop in clinical and translational science takes place in July and August. This year we will start on July 14th and we'll go through August 6th. The topic is how to handle missing data in clinical trials and observational studies. I will show you a slide with the topics in a few minutes. This is free, registration is free. It starts from 8 and ends at 9. We also have our annual CTSA symposium that usually takes place in May. And our past topics have been adaptive to clinical trials, impact on urban environments, on health and disease. We also offer writing workshops several times a year that are also free and open to the Mount Sinai community. There is a course called Reach for Your First R and K that is given for individuals, I believe, that are more advanced in their career and who are junior faculty. And the Summer Institute in Biostatistics also offers a course in the summer. This is our summer workshop in clinical research agenda for this year. We will share this with you probably within the next 2 days. You'll get a big broadcast email with all of this, and you'll be able to register. This is our contact information. I am the program administrator, like I mentioned. Christina Acevedo is our administrative assistant. We have several webinars that are coming up. We have one on June 17th and one on June 24th. You'll see the flyers outside of the door and some in the room here. Feel free to join us during our webinars if you have any questions. We will have an in-person webinar on June 16th at noon as well, and you'll get more information about that. So I'm not sure if we have enough time for questions. Any questions?
Do we get a discount?
No, unfortunately not. So the cost of the tuition is it's $1,100 for the PhD credits and $1,000 per credit for the master's program. If you're an employee, you can get tuition reimbursement through your department. You have to apply through HR and get approval from your department. Any other questions? No? Yes?
If you are funded through a teacher training grant, there are dollars available to tuition on those in those venues. Also, there are often supplements that you apply for and cover tuition costs.
Right, and we also have...
For the recording.
Dr. Gabriel, this is Dr. Gabriel, the director of our program. She was just saying that if your department has a T32 grant, you may be able to tap into those funds for tuition. And we have other students in our program who get tuition assistance through their department. And so there are ways, if you've been working in a department for a while and your department is supportive of you earning a master's or a certificate or a PhD. So we've had students who have worked things out with their department to get some tuition assistance.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. And there's someone sitting
Yeah,
outside.
someone is sitting outside if you would like to register or pre-register for our webinars, or we also have brochures outside if you'd like to learn more about our program. And myself and our program administrative assistant, we're both available for any questions at any time. You can email us, call us, visit our website.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A round of applause. All right, I just We're going to have to go fast, but I just wanted to bring this up quickly. I forgot to remind folks that we have, oh, you can't really see it up there, it's small. We have a Yammer account. I don't know, who knows what Yammer is here at Mount Sinai? Raise your hand. All right, so some of you do, good. We have started, Yammer is like the Twitter of Mount Sinai. Yammer is only within the Sinai firewalls with Sinai employees. And we're really trying to push people joining and following folks. And so I created the Clinical Research Forum group that you can join, and it'll be reminders about what we do every month and who the folks are that are going to be talking. And if you have questions that you want us to talk about at the forum, we can certainly use that as a way to communicate. And then there's also an Ideate group. If you're IACUC researchers, you're already in Ideate using that, and the IRB office and the PPHS team are rolling out Ideate for human subjects research between May 1st and kind of mid-November. So there will be a lot of information up there too. So I recommend that you try to join that. And so let's see. Okay, so next up is Amanda, and she is the managing director of the BioMe Biobank, and this is really exciting. We're going to hear about the opportunities that you have. I wanted to let people know that we are recording this session, so some of the folks that aren't here wanted to really learn about these topics, and so this is being recorded, and we'll be able to make it available on the web sometime in the next few weeks.
Thanks, Lori. So I'm Amanda Merkelson. I'm the Managing Director of the BioMe Biobank program here at Mount Sinai within the Institute for Personalized Medicine. I worked as a regulatory affairs coordinator under Dr. Marie Thiel from 2006 to 2011 in the Department of Medicine's Clinical Trials Office. And in 2011, I left to go to manage NYU Langone's Pediatric Oncology Research Program as manager. And I have to say, I always felt like I had been sent on some covert mission to investigate NYU's IRB operations, and always had this feeling that I would return and report back. And it didn't exactly happen like that, but I'm so thrilled to be back, especially in this role and for such an important project. And thrilled again to be working with my friends and colleagues at the PPHS. And I'm not just saying all of that because the biobank continuation is in the IRB review queue at the moment. But anyway, let's get started. So Dr. Erwin Bottinger is the director of the Institute for Personalized Medicine and the principal investigator of the BioMe Biobank program. So what is BioMe? BioMe is a research program, which means our protocol, our consent forms, our subject materials, and our staff are constantly reviewed and approved by Mount Sinai's Institutional Review Board. BioMe is a state-of-the-art research resource that allows investigators, both internal and external to Mount Sinai, to perform rapidly and efficiently genomic, genetic, and epidemiologic studies on large collections of standardized samples linked with standardized medical information. Any person who receives preventative or clinical care at Mount Sinai and who is 1 day of age or older is eligible to participate. We practice non-selective enrollment, and to date we have close to 33,000 patients enrolled. That's since 2007, so that's quite impressive. One-time participation includes the following: written informed consent from patients to unlimited retrospective and prospective access to their de-identified medical records to approved investigators, a small blood sample from which plasma and high-quality DNA are extracted in our BioMe repository and linked to the full electronic medical record, and completion of an extended family health history questionnaire where we ask about dietary and alcohol and smoking habits, environmental exposures, occupational exposures, and of course, family disease history. What makes our biobank so groundbreaking is our permission and our ability to recontact our participants for future research opportunities, and we're able to do that based on the de-identification of our samples and our data. This detail sets our biobank apart from other biobanks around the country where participation would involve consent, yes, but permission to recall may be something that patients can willfully elect or decline to participate in, or their participation is anonymized as soon as they consent to be a part of the biobank. So again, we practice de-identification, and that allows us to recall by phenotype or genotype, which is very exciting and can be useful to your projects if you require a cohort to participate in prospective studies, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. So without getting into too much detail, I can tell you that our BioMe IT structure is very elegant. Our laboratory information management system was designed in-house and is linked to the Mount Sinai Data Warehouse from which our clinical data comes. The research that we do and the specimens and the data we provide to investigators, again, both internal to Mount Sinai and external, is completely de-identified. We act as the honest broker. We are able to abstract data from the medical record, but protect the identity of the individual at the same time. The population in BioMe is extremely diverse in all aspects. It's essentially a microcosm of the hospital itself. And we incorporate our recruitment efforts into our clinic's clinical care processes, so it's really transparent. Since 2007, BioMe has enrolled patients from over 34 different clinics at Mount Sinai. We are very much a faculty practice and internal medicine associates population, but in recent years, we've collaborated with specific departments and their coordinators to enroll very exciting patient populations. Most recently, cardiothoracic pretesting patients with the support of Dr. David Adams. We've started recruitment in the Dubin Breast Cancer Center and several others that you see here. One of our goals for the future is to be able to extend recruitment opportunities to patients who are at the Continuum Health sites, and this would require down the line a boost in our infrastructure and resources. So we have on about half of our cohort genome-wide genotype data and exome chip data. We ran our first batch on about 3,000 patients with heart and kidney disease in 2010 on Affymetrix, and a second batch on approximately 13,000 BioMe participants in 2011 on Illumina. And these are patients who self-reported as African American, Hispanic, Latino, and European ancestry. Again, one of our goals, and we should have more data this summer and certainly into Q3 of this year, would be to have genotype data and sequencing data on the entire biobank, and this, of course, requires additional funding and resources. So this is something I'm especially proud of. The Biobank repository received a 3-year accreditation from the College of American Pathologists in October of 2013. We are the only biorepository in New York to have achieved such accreditation, and we are only one of 2 in the entire tri-state area. And CAP estimates that only 2% of existing national biorepositories have accreditation. So biorepository accreditation is recognized by the United States federal government, and while there is no federal mandate for accreditation, we at the Institute for Personalized Medicine wanted our donors and our collaborators to know and to understand that our specimens and our processes are of the highest quality, continuously reviewed, and this is what we believe to be the gold standard that every laboratory should strive for. So subject rights, privacy, and confidentiality are protected in various ways at every stage of a patient's participation in BioMe. It begins with the Certificate of Confidentiality we received from the NIH in 2007. A Certificate of Confidentiality, if you're not familiar, helps researchers protect the privacy of human research participants in biomedical, behavioral, clinical, and other what is deemed sensitive type research. And then, of course, we have the IRB doing its very good work to ensure that human subjects are protected in every sense. Consent, as it does with all of your research projects, takes place in a private setting, and we do not reveal participation status. That is up to the patient, of course. We de-identify our specimens and the questionnaires that the participants complete, as I said. We have the CAP accreditation, so you know our policies for protection of privacy and maintenance of the highest quality practices are ensured. And we have IRB-approved staff who perform quality assurance on all of our source documentation, so the consent forms as well as the questionnaires, to ensure that the data we give to investigators for their research matches the source. This slide just gives you an idea of several of the most commonly found diagnoses of our BioMe participants. It gives you an idea of the population. Metabolic disorders, as I mentioned, is high on the list. Certainly hypertension, diabetes, just a couple of examples, but a wide variety. So how can BioMe be of service to you and your investigators? So as I said before, a blood sample is taken from each participant from which plasma and DNA are extracted. So if plasma is needed for your biomarker studies, we can provide you with plasma. We can provide investigators with DNA, which can also be normalized if that's applicable to your study. Genotypic data, certainly when it exists for your cohort of interest, can be provided. Phenotypic data, which can come from the electronic medical record or from our family health history questionnaire. And then the recontacting services, which I mentioned earlier, which is very exciting. And I'll show you the cohort query tool very briefly, but if your investigator has a project for which a cohort of interest would need to participate in further prospective analyses, another blood draw, certain labs, MRI, CT scan, fitness test, whatever it is, BioMe can reach out on behalf of that IRB-approved study and invite the cohort of interest to contact the investigator of that study if they are so interested. And the participants would be identifying themselves under their own volition at that point. But this is a very rapid and efficient tool to help you meet your recruitment goals. And then I gave a few examples of research studies actively utilizing BioMe. As you can see, the disease groups are incredibly diverse, ranging from influenza, periodontal disease, psychotic disorders, hepatitis C, multiple sclerosis. So these are just a few of the examples. We have the support of so many key players here at Mount Sinai. We're extremely grateful for all of their support since 2007, especially also Dr. Glenn Martin, who's been a big supporter. And this is a picture of my BioMe team. So we're a small operation, but we have a huge presence here at Mount Sinai. And if any of you are interested in participating, all you need is your Mount Sinai medical record number. So our contact information is here. BioMe does have an official steering committee, so when you are interested in utilizing BioMe or have questions, you can email me, I'm Amanda, or you can send your request to our BioServe, which is that third address in the middle right there. You can also reach me directly or refer your investigators or whomever else to BioMe Biobank at mssm.edu. And the first link is our new website. So I hope everyone will visit that website. Just quickly back to the steering committee. Your protocol, your proposal, your initial thoughts will be reviewed for scientific merit, clinical relevance, specimen availability, resource prioritization, and of course feasibility. So we work very closely and on a personal level with the investigators to determine if BioMe is appropriate for your research goals. So if I have a little time, what I'd like to show you is the cohort query tool. The cohort query tool is through the Mount Sinai Data Warehouse. It provides an easy-to-use, self-service, web-based tool to the research community at Mount Sinai to query the data warehouse. BioMe can rapidly search the medical records of our participants in a de-identified manner to obtain counts of patients meeting inclusion and exclusion criteria that you give to us for tasks such as feasibility studies, pre-IRB submission planning, and to help you with recruitment. So this is the part of the presentation that everyone gets most excited about. Okay. So if you're interested in using BioMe, before you make your submission to the Institutional Review Board and claim to use us for recruitment purposes or for DNA or plasma or data, you probably want to know if BioMe has the cohort you're interested in. So we can search very broadly. So for example, if your investigator is interested in eczema, and that's a broad category, the cohort query tool can search for ICD-9 codes belonging to our entire biobank population, so the over 32,000 patients we have. And this column all the way on the right gives you the individual counts. And so depending on your study's needs, we can go through these individual codes and pick out the ones that are of interest to you. Similarly, if the investigator knows a specific ICD-9 code of interest, we can put that in as well instead of a keyword search. And so let's say the investigator is interested more specifically in atopic dermatitis. So this would indicate that 1,209 BioMe participants have this ICD-9 code in their clinical record. So this might be very exciting to you if you only are looking to recruit 20 participants or more. 1,200 is not an insignificant number. So you can see how we can quickly tell you how many patients you might be interested in are already in the tool. And then from that, we can provide some de-identified demographic information. So for the atopic dermatitis cohort, if the investigator is not looking to enroll patients under the age of 18, we can certainly find that information out. And finally, just do one more. If we actually wanted to find out the frequency of certain ICD-9 codes, certain diagnoses within that particular cohort to maybe try to see if something else interesting is happening among an atopic dermatitis cohort, maybe there is some other ICD-9 code that's significantly present, we can do that as well, and we can certainly specify between what dates. So for these purposes, I'll just do 1 month. But again, this would be within the atopic dermatitis cohort. And, right, so here we are. 69 of the 1,161 atopic dermatitis patients have essential primary hypertension. Hypertension is the second one. There's asthma, there's diabetes. Maybe as clinicians, you know that this is already sort of, expected from this kind of population, but maybe there's something interesting to look at as well. And so I'm able to personally take query requests from investigators who are planning their IRB submissions, who want to know if they can use us for either recall or to obtain specimens that have already been collected. So that's it. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes.
Is there a cost associated with accessing?
There is. Sure. So the question was, is there a cost associated with accessing the BioMe Biobank? And there is. We do have a pricing structure. So administrative time to do queries, there is a charge for that. It's a per-hour charge. We also have specimens stored at our off-site storage facility in the Bronx, and they charge their own delivery and retrieval fees when they do that for us. And then there is a per specimen charge and a per data charge. The charge goes down significantly the more you order. And I am happy to discuss the individual prices one-on-one. And it also depends on your project and the availability of the specimens.
Is there another question I saw? One more question?
So are we able to do this part ourselves, or do we have to ask you to do it?
Ask me.
And there's a charge for that.
No, this I'm very happy to do. Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah, exploratory, because our goal is to have you utilize the biobank, and so I can get you this information very rapidly. More complicated searches, there would probably be a charge if we had to send it to our programmers, but if you have your ICD-9 codes, that's very easy for me to look up, and we can also overlap cohorts to see if a diagnosis population, but not on this medication, we can do simple overlaps like that.
Last question.
So if we retrieve samples, what information do we actually get?
Well, if you're looking to obtain the plasma or the DNA, presumably you have a genotyping or a sequencing facility set up. Biobank itself does not do genotyping, but the core lab here at Mount Sinai can. Any variable in the electronic medical record that you stipulate. So to be very clear, we obviously never hand over anyone's entire medical record to you. You would very specifically identify for us the variables of interest related to your research project.
All right, and anyone can search, you can either get a hold of Amanda directly, or you can just go to our website and search BioMe, right? Mm-hmm. And all this information will come up and they can contact you, right? Exciting, thank you very much. Awesome. Amanda Norton from the Grants Office is going to talk to you a little bit about something fabulous.
I'm Amanda Norton. I'm a senior grant specialist in the Grants and Contracts Office. Just out of curiosity, who's submitting an NIH application due for the 5th? Anybody? Very good. Have a couple of people. I hope creating the NIH BioSketch wasn't too difficult for you. We're going to go through, basically talk about the new NIH BioSketch. We're going to go through the format. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to kind of manage your publications for the new BioSketch. And if we have time, we are running a little bit late, I'm going to try to show you a tool to help you develop the BioSketch called ScienceCV. Okay, so we're going to start with the new BioSketch. The question that everyone asks is, why did the NIH change the BioSketch? We like the old BioSketch. The idea behind it is that the new BioSketch allows researchers to describe their accomplishments in their own words instead of having reviewers infer the investigator capabilities based on a list of publications. And so this way, we're hoping to get more information from the applicant to describe what they can do and what they bring to the project. When the NIH BioSketch is now required as of May 25th, 2015, so that means it is required for any upcoming applications. When the NIH says required, they mean it. Do not submit an application with an old BioSketch. You do have to have the new format. Oh, one important note, if you do not use the new format, the NIH may reject your application. So definitely make sure that you get those BioSketches created. So some of the changes, there was a very basic change in the personal information section of the BioSketch. It's the same information, they just reorganized it. So that's not a big change there. Section A of the BioSketch is the section where you talk about kind of your personal goals and how they relate to your proposed project. The big change here is that you can now include up to 4 publication citations or research projects that support your research. The biggest change comes with Section C. This section used to be the list of publications, and now they've changed it to include contributions to science. You're allowed to include up to 5 contributions, do not exceed 5. It's okay if you have less, it's not a big deal, but do not exceed 5 contributions. Also, per each contribution, you are allowed to have 4 publications or research products. I keep saying or research products because some people might have book chapters, they might have patents that would support their contribution to science. So it's not necessarily limited to just a publication. Also, you're allowed to include images in the new BioSketch. So if you have, you've created a really awesome software code and you want to put an image of your code in there, that's fine. Important thing about images, though, if you need the image for your research strategy section or your specific aim section, do not put it in this section. The reviewers may see it as trying to circumvent page limits, and they may reject your application. So if you do use images, I caution you to be very careful about what you put in there. Another specific part, another new part is the link to a complete list of your published works. Right now, the NIH is recommending that you use the My Bibliography list from MyNCBI. Has everyone had a chance to play around in MyNCBI? Some people, a couple, okay. They are recommending the use of MyNCBI to reserve the anonymity of all of the reviewers, that they know through their site that there won't be any personal information divulged. Also, this link is not a requirement. It is optional. If you choose not to put this link in, it's fine. You will not be penalized. But if you do choose to put it in, you can use the My Bibliography link, or you can use another program that will link to a full list of your publications. So for example, we're seeing some links to Google Scholar and other repositories. The important thing is that whatever you choose to use, it cannot have any kind of password requirements, any kind of login. Again, they want to make sure that the anonymity of the reviewers is kept, so be careful. I recommend just use the bibliography. It's an easy way to go. You have to do it for your RPPRs anyway, so definitely use that tool. Do you have any questions about any of the sections of the BioSketch before I move on? Yes?
Some people have updated the publication based on personal websites.
On personal, the question is, some people have a full list of their publications on a personal website. I would hesitate against saying that it would be allowed because you might have a site that tracks cookies, or it also takes the researcher to a website with, it takes the reviewer to a website with additional content that may be part of your proposal, and you definitely don't want to get dinged for trying to circumvent page limits. So I would recommend against that. Any other questions? Okay. If you do decide to use MyNCBI for your list of full publications, it's important to be able to find that URL to copy and paste and put in your BioSketch. So on the screen, this is the MyNCBI dashboard. The little boxes on the screen are called portlets. You can find your link in the My Bibliography portlet right there. You copy and paste it in its entirety and just put it right into the BioSketch. One important part, you want to make sure that if you do share the link, that the settings are changed from private to public, and you can find that right there. You can see that mine is public, so as long as it says public, anyone can click on it and access it. If it says private, when you click on it, it gives you an error and no one can see it, so you're hurting yourself there. So just make sure that your settings are set to public. Also, if you click there, if you click on that, the settings link, it takes you to this page, which is your MyNCBI settings. You can also find the direct URL there, and there's a lot of other important information on this screen. You can see your bibliography sharing, so if you see that it's private when you click here, definitely change it to public and click Save at the bottom. You can also change the sorting of your publications. The options are to sort by date, from new to old, author A to Z, and title A to Z. The default is in that order, new to old. If you'd like it reversed, you can select one of the three options and click on the reverse button. And then anyone that accesses your full list will see them in the order that you choose. There are a little bit of bugs in the sorting, so if something's not working quite right for you, make sure that you email the MyNCBI help desk. Another important part in this section is where you can assign delegates to your bibliography. We all know that investigators are really busy, and so if you don't have time to properly manage or update your bibliography on a regular basis, you can delegate someone access and they can update this on your behalf. Some important things to keep in mind when you're preparing your bio sketches. Do not exceed the maximum allowable contributions, which are 5, keep that in mind. Do not provide more than 4 citations per contribution. And I do say citation, but it also expands to work products. This is probably so far for the R01 deadline on Friday, this is probably the one that we're seeing the most. People are providing 6 and 7 citations. That is not in line with the format, so just to ensure that your application doesn't get rejected for bio sketches, just stick to the 4 citations. And if you provide a link to your full bibliography, the reviewers can see the extra publications anyway. The bio sketch is limited to 5 pages. It used to be 4. Now with the contributions, they're allowing 5 pages. Only include a link to your full list of publications. Do not include any other links in your bio sketch. Again, the My Bibliography must be public for others to access it. That's also the second most common issue that we've been seeing in the GCO, is bibliographies that are private. Again, images and graphs are allowable, but do not circumvent page limits. So where to find the new NIH bio sketch? You can go to the NIH website up on the screen. If Google lets you down, you can use that web address. There's also the Science CV, or the Science CV web-based tool. The acronym stands for Science Experts Network Curriculum Vitae. Just remember science with the V. Again, if Google lets you down, the web address is there and you can go there. The nice thing about Science CV is that it will automatically format the bio sketch for you, so you're not worrying about indentations, setting tabs and things. I know that's frustrating for a lot of investigators, especially if it's Wednesday, your application is due on Friday, and something's wrong in the bio sketch. You don't have to worry about messing with the formatting. This actually would probably take a little bit more time, but one of the questions that we're getting a lot, again in the GCO, is you have an investigator, they want to include a link to their MyNCBI in the bio sketch. But the problem is they have multiple applications, program projects, T32s, and so their bibliography includes publications from other individuals where the investigator is not the first author, is not the author. And so they want to move these out of the bibliography and put them somewhere else. And so how to go about doing that? There are 2 main ways. You can either move the publication to other citations or copy the publications into a new collection. There are pros and cons of each way. If you move the publications, the only option is other citations. If you have a PI that likes to be detailed and organized, they may create separate collections for their different grants. For example, they may have a PO1, and they may want to put all the publications for the PO1 grant in one bucket. They may also have a T32. They want to put all those publications in another bucket. The only way to accomplish that is to use the copy function. Quick demonstration of moving publications. In your bibliography, you select the publications that you want to move. Click the Move button at the top, and click OK. It's pretty simple to move things. Copying publications, it's also similar. You select the ones you want. If you want to move everything, you can use the Select All mechanism. And then after you select the ones you want, you click Copy. This one is a little different. You have 2 options. You can create a brand new collection, or you can append to an existing collection. So if you wanted to create a separate collection for your PO1 or T32, you would select the Create a New Collection option. And then in the future, when you copy things into that that collection, you can click the append to an existing collection, and it'll give you selection options for where to put that citation. The other most frequently asked question that I get is, how do I add citations for publications that are not found in PubMed? This would be your publications that were just accepted for publication, but you want them to show up in your bibliography. Also, sometimes you can't find book chapters if you want to add patents, things like that to your bibliography, so they can, so reviewers can see them when they click on your bibliography link. The only way to do that is to do a manual add in the bibliography. So for manually adding, it's pretty simple. You go to your bibliography, My Bibliography, click Add Citation at the top, and it's going to give you some options. There are many different options. You can add a journal article that does not appear in PubMed. That is the selection you want if you have a brand new, a publication that was just accepted for publication. They have book chapters, meeting abstracts, presentations, patents, data sets, and software. They also have just an other non-standard if you have something that doesn't fit into one of the pre-assigned lists.
You have about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We also created an FAQ document that provides information about how to manage some publications. It comes with screenshots. I hope that it's really easy to use. If you subscribe to either the CRC listserv or the research faculty listserv, then you would have gotten this in email. We will be posting this on the GCO website. The web address is at the bottom. So you can get an idea of what's included in the frequently asked questions document. I put the table of contents up on the screen. This is a living document. It's updated as additional questions come in. So if you're having problems or one of your PIs is having problems and you're not sure how to help them, and you can send me an email, let me know, and if enough people ask the same question, then I will add it to the table of contents. If you're an administrator and you get the same questions asked 10 times a day, please feel free to send me an email and let me know, please, please, please add this here so that we can tell our investigators what they need to do. Some quick recommendations. Clearly being proactive about your publications is the #1 takeaway. Once your publications, I'm going to touch on public access policy for just a second. Once your publications are non-compliant, it's already too late. So you definitely need to be proactive and make sure that you monitor your publications on a regular basis. Take action and delegate. Again, if you don't have time to manage your bibliography, make sure to select a trusted delegate. For example, if you have a postdoc or someone in your lab that you trust to take care of this for you, that would be a good option. If you are an administrator and you support 40 PIs, it may not be feasible for each of your PIs to delegate you access, and you would probably want to recommend they choose someone else. And then I also recommend, I'm going to skip over the basic BioSketch. I recommend using ScienceCV. It's a really helpful tool. I'm sorry, we're probably not going to get to it right now, but it is really helpful. Really quickly for ScienceCV, the best part about ScienceCV is that it takes inputs from multiple data repositories where the information already exists. It takes it from those systems, for example, ERA Commons and ORCID, and it takes it and it pulls all the information out, your educational information, your name, your email address, et cetera, and it changes it and puts it into a different format for you. In this case, the important part is the new NIH BioSketch. Right now, they're piloting for the NSF BioSketch, and a couple of agencies have gotten together and they're trying to streamline the BioSketch so that all of the agencies require the same, so you're not creating 50 different kinds of BioSketches for the same project. This is the ScienceCV homepage in cbi.nlm.nih.gov. You can also look it up on Google. Again, it's science with a V. Oh, that's going to take too long. All right, so we're just going to go to the end because I think we're done. Maybe we can put this on another website. If you would like to use ScienceCV, they actually have a YouTube video with descriptions of how to use it. It's the ScienceCV at the bottom left, and you can watch that. There's a bunch of information on the helpful links. Again, if you have questions or you need immediate assistance or you want someone to sit down with you and show you how to use the system, you can just send me an email at amanda.norton@mssm.edu. I am the current point of contact for anything publications, Mayan CBI, bibliography-related questions. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. Do I have any questions? Okay, yes, again. So the question is, if you manually add a publication, when it's manually add a publication that's not found in PubMed, when the citation is in PubMed, will it create a duplicate entry? The answer is no. The system automatically checks for it, so as long as you put in the correct information when you added it, as soon as it's available in PubMed, it will automatically feed into your bibliography. Yes. Okay, so the question is, I'm going to rephrase it. Are you allowed to list, you mean in the bibliography? In the BioSketch? Okay. The reviewers are not going to be checking for that PMC ID. So if you do have a citation that might be non-compliant with the public access policy, they will not know. It will not show up on when they click on your bibliography link, it will not show up there.
Like for your progress report, you have, if you're going to list
For-
the publication.
For progress, yes. For progress reports, it's a little different. There, you're reporting to the NIH as opposed to having, your BioSketch reviewed. Meet me afterwards and we can talk about it. How about that? Okay, it's very public access related. Yes. The question is the new NIH BioSketch required for non-competing applications? The answer would be yes. If you're adding new personnel to the project, that would be the only time that you would need to include a BioSketch in a non-competing continuation, or people may know it as a progress report or RPPR, but you do need to use the new format. Only for new personnel. That's the only time that you would ever include a BioSketch for new key personnel, mind. That's the only time you would have to include them in the RPPR. Okay. Any other questions? Again, I'll stay up here if someone wants to come and, talk about something. I don't mind. Again, anything, in general with the weather. It's really nice today. And then also you can always email me at amanda.norton@mssm.edu.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, we really appreciate it.